Hey everyone, welcome to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about this time? Well, do you remember a game called Immortals of Avium? What is that, you might say? No one bought it. Reportedly, it had $125 million budget, but failed to recoup its costs. So this came out from EA. It was published by EA back in 2023. And EA in a statement said that these sources have claimed the game had a budget of $125 million and that no one bought the game, like I was saying. Even though the game did get some pretty good reviews online, from critics, it did fairly well. But and I think with players that played it, probably liked it for the most part. But yeah, other than that, well, the people who bought it, not nobody bought it, but some people did, right? So basically, at a high level, Immortals was massively overscoped for a studio debut project. The development cost was around $85 million, and EA kicked in around $40 million for the marketing and distribution. There was some serious talent on the development team, but trying to make a AAA single-player shooter in today's market was a truly awful idea, especially since it was a new IP that was also trying to leverage Unreal Engine 5. What ended up launching was a bloated, repetitive campaign that was far too long. And that was one of the employees at the development studio. So another former employee expressed their thoughts via a popular video game industry mantra that gained traction on social media, a meme that people want shorter games with worse graphics made by people paid more to work less, apparently defined the vision of Immortals of Avium fairly well. So, however, despite trying to mirror popular sentiment, this approach didn't result in the success the studio was hoping for. It's not a sequel or a remake. It doesn't take 400 hours to beat, has zero microtransactions, no pointless open world grinding. Although not everyone loved it, it reviewed pretty well, currently sitting at a 74 on OpenCritic and mostly positive on Steam. As noted, so basically what I'm getting at is, yeah, I mean, this game was, I think EA just did him dirty on this one, right? This game came out right in between two major launches, and that was Armored Core 6 and Baldur's Gate 3. It got sandwiched right in between those. Now, this game, I've seen this game. It looks pretty neat, and I do have it on my wish list, but it's one of those games that has gone on sale quite a few times, and I've just never picked it up because I'm like, I don't really have the time to play it. So, will I eventually pick it up? Probably, but I think EA just did them dirty with the release date, right? I think that they stuck them in a bad spot, especially for a new IP, right? You have established IPs such as Armored Core 6 and Baldur's Gate coming out around the same time as a brand new IP, and you don't want to try to launch a brand new IP in between the middle of some already established franchises, especially popular ones. You don't want to do that. That's not going to gain traction for your new IP. If there was nothing else out on the market or nothing major out on the market at the time, Immortals of Avium could have done pretty well. But I think EA just picked a bad time. That's one of the reasons why Alone in the Dark, that we've talked about before, has moved itself out of its release time windows that it had. Unfortunately, Alone in the Dark didn't do themselves any favors because they come out at the same time that Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out. So they really didn't weasel themselves out of being just, released on their own. They're still, unfortunately for Alone in the Dark reboot, I think they're going to run into the same problems that Immortals of Avium did here, because they were releasing right alongside Dragon's Dogma 2. And I would assume majority of gamers are probably going to pick up and play Dragon's Dogma 2 than they are going to Alone in the Dark. So even though Alone in the Dark is not a new IP, but Dragon's Dogma, I think, is just a lot more, we've had a ton of Alone in the Darks, and Alone in the Dark's games are hit and miss. So I don't think there's as much hype for a new Alone in the Dark as there is for Dragon's Dogma, because the first Dragon's Dogma was really good and people have been wanting a second one for a very long time. And now we're going to finally get that. So I think more people are going to go out and grab Dragon's Dogma than they are Alone in the Dark. And I think the same thing happened here with this one. This one wasn't a storied franchise. It was a new IP. But again, it was sandwiched between two franchises that were very popular. It's been a long time since Armored Core had come out, and a new Armored Core was coming out. So there was a lot of hype behind that. And Armored Core 6 was a great game. And then Baldur's Gate, it's been a long time since we had a Baldur's Gate game. But again, those are franchises people know, and people were really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. And well, we know the story about that game, right? So EA did them dirty on this one by launching them at the worst possible time. But let's go around and see what you guys think. What do you think of this game just not making the cut as far as what their problem was, or have you even heard of this game, you guys? I just wanted to see if you guys ever heard of this game or were interested in this game at all. So let's go around and see what everybody thinks. Pat, what do you think about all this?
What game is this? I'll be honest, EA did them dirty. More than that, because I don't remember seeing a single thing about this game. I don't know if it just got buried in the hype of all this other stuff, but when I'd heard about this, I'm like, what the hell is Immortals of Avium? And I went and looked, and I'm like, okay, the commercial, the trailer looks vaguely familiar, but not really enough. So I think that EA's marketing team failed them in this one, on top of being sandwiched in a couple of big hitters that are established, established game IPs. Being a new IP, you have to pick your placement very carefully, because you're making, you are an unknown coming into the market. And so people are going to be like, well, and people don't always have the money to buy multiple games, right? They may go, okay, in this month I can only buy one or two games. And that's game number 3 in the month. They're like, well, I won't be buying that one because I don't know it. I don't know enough about it. And does this mean the end for Ascendant Studios then? Since EA basically spent $40 million and however much they gave Ascendant Studios, because it said $85 million to develop and then like $40 million in marketing and distribution. Where did that marketing and distribution money go to? Because I don't remember seeing a damn game trailer for this one. And I watch a lot of game trailers, so I may have missed it, or it may have come across and the trailer just didn't seem interesting to me. But I don't know. So this is Ascendant Studios' first game, might be their only game, unfortunately. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, when I saw the article, I'm like, what the hell is Immortals of Avium? And I had to go look. I'm like, this looks cool. It's something I'd play. I don't have time right now because there's too many games coming out, and I'm in the same boat as Nick, where I'm like, I don't got time to play it, so I'll just keep waiting until I see it on a really big sale, right? I think on Steam right now it's like on a 60% sale. I saw when I was looking around, going, oh, okay, it's 60% off right now or something. So it's $24 game on Steam down from 60, which sucks for the developer, right? Because that means that they're if EA didn't get their money back, the developer's not really making any money on it. So how are they going to survive in their next game? I don't know, man. I feel bad for them, but at the same time, this is what you get for partnering with EA, the place where games go to die. I mean, that's what they're known for. If you want your game to die, then go to EA. They're not going to do anything to help your game. That $40 million went to marketing and distribution. What the hell marketing was on this game? I was looking at all of the screenshots and trailers and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't remember seeing jack about this game in any of the major outlets for advertising. But it does look like something I would play. It looks cool. It looks interesting. And it's getting great reviews. I mean, it's getting 7s and 8s. It's getting around that score, which is a good game. It's not like amazing game, but it's a good game. So I would definitely play it, but unfortunately, EA's marketing failed them on this one. On top of EA probably pushed them to release, or maybe nobody was paying attention at what's coming out at the same time this game is coming out. A no-named IP. Just bad timing, bad marketing, bad everything, bad EA. Bad EA, go sit in the corner. Yeah. And unfortunately, the one that's going to pay for this is going to be Ascendant Studios. Ascendant Studios may not be making another game. I don't know. I mean, this game came out in August of last year, and Avium hasn't mentioned anything about shutting down. But I mean, here we are, 4 months later, or 5 months later. It's almost the end of. It's the middle of February, so 4 or 5 months out. And they're still not talking about shutting their doors down, right? So maybe they'll survive. Maybe they got something else going on in the interim. I don't know. I mean, I think they have like over 100 employees from what I can tell off their wiki page. Hopefully they survive and make something else if this game is good, but I won't have time to play this game for another couple of months until this definitely busy time in video games ends, because I've got more games lined up than I have time to play. What do you think, Shane? Were you looking forward to playing Immortals of Avium?
I remember the announcement, and I mean vaguely remember the announcement, because if my brain, which is old and senile and slightly tarded, if I remember correctly, when I first saw this trailer, I got it confused with another game, the one where you could slide around on the sand and crap. I can't even. We played it and reviewed it. Forspoken, yes. I think I got it confused with that when I remember when we first saw the trailer. And then I remember one other, like, showed up on a PlayStation dashboard or something, and that was it. I'm like, oh, what the hell's that? Oh, well, I don't have time or care to look. That's about as much memory as I have of the game. And you're right, Pat. The biggest downfall to this game was EA. It's EA is not somebody I would want to partner with. But the problem is EA's got the bank because they used to be a good company. So they made up all that money. I hope nobody loses their job over this, because from what I read and what I watched, the reviews are good enough. They're not terrible. They're better than average for the overall. The game looks interesting enough to where this group would probably play it if we had a freaking spare moment to play something that's not on our review list. It breaks my heart to see something like this happen to a developer, especially because the game came out looking better than that Kong game, so that's already a plus. It really sucks for him, but I honestly don't remember when they released. I don't remember a true trailer, saying, hey, we're coming on this date. I remember something about announcement, and I remember maybe a trailer or something, but I don't remember anything specific whatsoever. Looking at the screenshots, I really, maybe it's familiar. It's, they just did not do a good job with this. But probably the biggest downfall, besides, partnering with EA, is the placement of it. I mean, that was a crappy time, because not only did they put it between two extremely hyped games, they put it between two really long games. Because
I just saw the date was August 31st. It looks like that released on. You know what released the following week? Starfield 2.
Starfield, yeah. That's kind of a dumbass decision to put it there. Even if Starfield completely bombed, it didn't. But even if it would have, it wouldn't have helped that game, because Starfield was so hyped up. It's and like you said, you can't always afford to buy everything. Unless you're Nick, you just buy everything twice. So it was just a terrible, terrible timing. But I don't think I really experienced like a year where, like, the last solid 4 months were packed with so many games that were anticipated and wanted to play. So they would have been better off trying to go a month early or 6 months late. But like Nick said, even 6 months late, they're going to be screwed, because, I mean, we're going to have a hell of a good start for 2024. I mean, we got some really, hopefully, great games coming out. And like you said about Alone in the Dark, it's a it was a popular series, and the only hype for this game is because they haven't made one in a long time. I played the demo, severely unimpressed because the demo was extremely short, and that pissed me off. That made me angry at the full game. So I don't think there would have been any help for this game. I really don't, unless they released it much later and a lull, and they had better advertisement for it. I mean, it's really a shame that that the game's gone out this way. I'll probably pick it up if it stays on sale, just so it'll be in my back catalog that it'll never get played because my back catalog is so freaking full. But I may try to pick it up at some point because I do think it looks interesting and sound interesting. So,
yeah,
but it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's.
Oh, and I just read an article where they did lay off like 40 employees like in September right after that. So they lost 40, which they're saying is around, they have 80 to 100 people. So that's around 45 to 50% of their employees got laid off in September. So that was like 3 weeks after the game came out. So they expected to make bank 3 weeks after the game. I don't know. It's something smells a little fishy there, but I don't know.
Well, always remember though, I don't know how they
studio.
contracted. I don't know if they contracted out, they finished the game. They did a little life stuff afterwards, and then they let some people go if they were just contract, or they were, full-time, and they realized we ain't selling shit. And, we got to let people go. God, that just chaps my ass when the things like that happen to people. So, but like I said, EA, big problem. Timing, big problem. I don't put anything on a developer because it seems like it was a good try. Just things were going against it, unfortunately. So, but what about you, Nick? You gonna pick it up?
I mean, I knew about this game. I remember the videos when it was shown off. That's why it's on my wish list. But unfortunately, it stayed on my wish list, right? And it still is there because it's been on sale several times. And I just never picked it up because it is a new IP. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, even though it's gotten pretty good reviews and stuff, but I've had better things to play or other things to play. And so I just never picked it up, right? The best time for release for them would have been during those months where we didn't have anything. There were times where there was really nothing out, nothing new out, I should say, to play. And I was, there was times for a month or so. There was that time period at towards the end of 2023 where there really wasn't anything that was coming out for a couple months there. Anything worth playing and just some smaller titles and stuff. So that would have been a perfect time for them to release, or towards the later half of this year to release. But they didn't. They just released around the time where a lot of big franchises were making they're putting their games out, like Baldur's Gate and Armored Core, and then Starfield later on, right? I mean, yeah, EA just picked it's a horrible time. Like Pat said, it's a horrible time to put a new IP out. If you have an established IP, that's fine. But if you're putting a brand new IP out, you've really got to pick a time frame that there's going to be this drought in gaming, right? Like the beginning of this year is not a good time, right? No. But like when it gets towards summertime, that's usually when it starts to kind of die down a little bit. And that's a perfect time to release something, right? Before it picks up again in the fall. So there's always those months or those time periods where there's really nothing big that comes out. And that's the perfect time to release a new IP because people don't have anything else to play. So they're like, okay, cool, I'll check this game out. And it ends up being, people like it and they're like, oh, cool, and it gets word of mouth and people start talking about it and stuff like that. But if you put yourself in between, especially around Baldur's Gate 3, I mean, you're just spelling doom there because that's all anybody talked about was Baldur's Gate 3. That and even Armored Core 6, like that, and then Starfield. That was it. That was it anybody's talking about. Like through that period of time, you couldn't talk about a different game. Those were the three games people were talking about, and that's it. So it's like, good luck, trying to put something else new out there in the market at that time. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for Ascendant. They say that, I did read, like you said, that they laid off. They say they're still going to support this game, releasing patches and new materials, and new future updates and stuff like that for it. I don't know. If I were them, I'd say cut your losses and move on to something else and don't support this game. I mean, if it needs patches and stuff, sure, but I just don't think you're going. Don't start introducing new content and DLC and crap, because you're just not. If you haven't picked up the player base now, you're just not going to. What you're going to pick up is people that have it on their wish list or are looking for a game and they stumble across it, right? That's what you're going to pick up now. So you're just going to trickle in a few extra people, and they ain't going to be worth the time to budget development costs and stuff like that for new things.
Yeah. So they continue to patch the game until December. So they haven't patched any. They haven't put a new patch out until since December 11th. So they did support the game all the way until, I don't know if it's completely fixed because I haven't played it. I haven't read what the current bugs are, but I guess there was some quality of life stuff that needed to get taken care of, and they were pumping out 2 to 3 patches a month. They pumped out 2 in August, 4 in September. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 in September, 3 in November, and then 1 in December. We haven't heard anything much from them since then, but I don't know, man. It sucks, but I think EA did them dirty in both those aspects.
Yeah. Well, I tell you this though, before we go, what you just said, Pat, tells me that they're a good company. They're a good developer, because even though the game was tanking, they still made quality of life changes. They still made those patches. They still tried to take care of that game. Even if it was a small player base, they tried to take care of. And to me, that says a lot. They could have just said, we're done. That shit's never going to get fixed. So I give them much credit. Now, continuing to support it, I don't know how far they mean, because I don't think there's any kind of a multiplayer or a live service element or anything like that to really take care of. So I don't know what they would do except for maybe DLCs or I really, that's be about the only thing I can think of. So, but I think if you have time, pick it up. It's on the sale. Pick it up. Give them a little support. Give them a little love. Maybe they'll learn something. They'll partner with somebody a little bit better than EA, and they'll give us a home run game. So, hope so.
Maybe.
I saw a podcast out there I want to listen to where Brett Robbins was on there talking about what's next for them. I haven't listened to it, but it's like a remap interview with Brett Robbins, and supposedly he was pretty open and honest about what's on their doorstep. What's coming up, and so I'll have to listen to it because I want to see what he said. But their podcast like an hour and 15 minutes long. I don't know if I can listen to it that long, but I want to see what he says is next on their radar, what's next for them, because can they really sustain who's going to publish their next game and give them funds to develop another game? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they can make something, but I really want to play. I want to play Immortals of Avium, but it's not a top priority right now for me. Even at a $25 game or $24 game, it's going to probably be it'll probably be another 3 or 4 months before I'm able to pick it up with the load I have. And by then, is it going to be cheaper than $20? I don't know. The game has not even been out 5 months yet fully. So,
yeah, I would love to give it a try, but I'm in the same boat as you. It's just, I haven't finished crap from the last 6 months. I don't think I have space for it 6 months from now. So, by the way, Pat, I've been wanting to say this. I like that shirt. I don't know why, but I really like that shirt.
I didn't even know Engine X. It's Engine X. It's a company.
Nope. It just, I was waiting for a little spaceship to go by and start bombing it, like Space Invaders or something. Just cool. That's all I got.
Cool. All right.
Say something nice about his shirt, Nick.
It's a nice shirt.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and end this. Yeah. I want to play the game as well. Like I said, it's been on my wish list for a long time. ever since the game came out. Really, it's been on my wish list because it looks cool. But again, I just don't have the time to play it. I don't have it in my catalog of games that I'm playing right now and games coming out. I know it's a storied game, you know, and it's like I just don't have time to pack it in there. But I will eventually, and then so when I do, I'll pick it up at that point and play it. But for now, you know, and that might be the case for a lot of people, right? There might be a lot of people interested in the game. It's just there were so many heavy hitters coming out that they just didn't have time to fit it in. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't have, there are certain games that you just don't have time to play. You just, even if they're good, right? You just don't have time to fit them into your schedule. So, and that can happen to a lot of people, especially when you got big games coming out and you're trying to fit in a smaller, not necessarily it's a small game, but just a newer title or a new IP that you never heard of, right? So anyway, let us know down in the comments below. Did you play Immortals of Avium? Avium? The, you know, of water? Avum? Avum? Did you play that game? Immortals? Let us know down in the comments below if you played it and if it's good, if you like it. Yeah, and what you think about EA releasing it at the time they did, but let us know down in the comments below. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, as well as hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.